Well,
Right. So
So,
what we'll do is we'll start the actual interview now. So where did the name Mans come from? Because over here it means something totally different.
yes.
I'm
So
guessing.
this is that everyone asked me that question. So there's not even a good story behind it. So my original RuneScape name was like the Man's Man, which I was like 10 years old. I thought I was cool. I was like the boss's boss kind of things. So I just thought I was really cool, and then like everyone just started calling me Mans because obviously no one's gonna use your name. So then just Mans just kind of stuck since then, and I've just been using it since I was.
Mhm.
Oh, yep,
Yep.
that's how Mans was
Fair
created.
enough. And obviously it confuses everyone over here because whenever you leave, whenever you come, it's be like, oh, Mans is gone. Oh, sorry.
so the
He's
man.
right. He's right
Mans is
here. Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
If you ever come to the UK land, can you change your name to Mandem or something like that?
No,
Like,
why would I ever change? If anything, I can just put like ItsMans, which is like my Twitch thing. So,
so we say like like man's got to eat. Like, whatever. We're just saying like you.
yes,
Maybe
I'm
confused.
hungry.
Okay, that makes
Or,
sense.
or you would be like, oh, man's got to eat. They would be like, oh, I've got to eat, not you.
That's what I've just said.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. No, I heard a totally different way. Anyways, so uh, obviously growing up in America, competitive influences I imagine are all around you. Just from what I'm guessing from what I've seen from American TV. So where did your competitive spark first start, and how did it grow from there?
so this is gonna be a good one. So obviously I was born with an identical twin. So technically, genetically, we're identical. So like competition is literally just from birth kind of things. You always have someone you're competing with. You're always trying to be better than your twin. You're trying to be smarter. You're trying to be faster. You're trying to be stronger, kind of things. So we literally competed for everything. I mean, eating contests, running, sports, girls, literally competed for everything. And that's just, I mean, brothers do that, but it's a little bit more intense when you're an exact copy of another person, kind of things.
Yeah.
So you can't be like, oh, you're older, or like, oh, you're younger, it's why you're faster. It's no, literally we're the exact same. So we just endlessly competed with each other. So like sports and stuff, we could never play the same position in sports because one person would always be better than the other, and the other person couldn't handle it, and they just quit. So it was one of those things where like I was always goalie, he was always defense. If we like played basketball or something, one of us was forward and one of us was like defender, and so that was a way for like our parents and for ourselves to survive the competition between ourselves. So yeah, that's kind of where all of it. I mean, when you're born a twin, you're just constantly competing. I mean,
That makes sense.
Yeah. Everyone in chat is asking about the water bottle you're drinking from.
Okay.
So could we just please take a look at the water
yeah,
bottle?
yeah, yeah. It's just a camouflage. This is the light. It's a camouflage mug.
Everyone's saying it's a man's
It's
brand.
yeah.
It's not. It's water.
Everyone wants one.
Oh,
Where can you
everyone
buy
wants one. I just got it like the local like superstore, like a Walmart.
Oh, better
Um,
to Walmart. That
I
rip.
mean,
Yeah.
the company that makes it is Travers, Tervis. If you guys can Google that, I'm sure you can find them online on Amazon.
There we go. There we go. So
There you
that's
go.
chat's question. They're happy.
On the other hand, Stella Artois. Lovely glassware.
fancy, sophisticated Englishman.
That's me.
Nothing bad.
Stella very fancy. Yeah.
So what made you first move into coaching in League of Legends in particular? Because you could have went into any game.
Um,
Why League of Legends?
So, I think like for that we can just go back to like how I started playing League.
Yeah.
I had started playing League originally, like I talked. I was a RuneScape gamer. I grinded RuneScape for 10+ years. Nerd. Anyways, so I had moved out of my parents' house and I was in my college apartment with my brother and a roommate, and one of my roommate's friends were like watching it on the TV because they just like cooked their computer and was watching the games on Twitch, and obviously some of like, my RuneScape friends had mentioned League. I was like, oh no, I'm never gonna play that game. It's too mainstream. It's It's one of those things. So then I ended up watching like a professional game and like really liked it. It was just one of those things where like it was season 5, so it was like super action packed. I mean, I remember like Wild Turtle picking Jinx and thought that was like the coolest thing because I like played Jinx a bunch, and so like that kind of stuff was just always like really cool. And I was missing the competition from like competitive sports and stuff from high school. So everyone was like, "Hey, look, this is like super competitive." So I was like, "Sure, why not?" So I started playing. In the like middle of season 5, and I know like I super got into it after, I believe that was the EDG versus SKT MSI, where SKT lost their first international tournament since they had started winning. And I remember watching that because it was actually at a decent time here. It was like 11 p.m. or something. And I remember watching it until like 3 in the morning, and it was like one of the most hype like sports moments like I had ever like witnessed, like Super Bowls, like NHL finals, NBA playoffs, like all of that. And it was just it was insane. Like this was like history. And so I'd really loved the game since then. Obviously I'm not very good at it individually. If anybody's seen my stream, I'm Gold 4,
So
formerly
then-
Plat 4.
How did you then transition into coaching? in
So,
Divisions?
kind of realizing that I would never actually a pro, and spending so much time loving the game. I had watched a lot of videos on like self improvement. Last Shadow was like one of those people who I had watched a bunch of, in his coaching videos, just trying to improve individually. And then I was noticing everyone else's mistakes. And so when I started streaming, I was like, I'm gonna make everyone better. Like I'm gonna make League of Legends better. And I failed. But I had gotten several years of coaching experience, or a year of coaching experience. Made a lot of really good friends through coaching, and so far I have a 100% success rate of people climbing with my coaching. Obviously, if you're bronze, you can only go up. But for the most part, I've coached everything from D5 to bronze on stream, and then obviously challenger and masters and all the diamond tiers.
Yeah,
competitively.
you're touching it a little bit there, but obviously coaching, especially when you speak to like esports coaches, a lot of it is self-taught.
Mhm.
So a lot of people will just get into it because, like you say, they may not be good enough at the game themselves.
Yeah.
So what methods or how did you teach yourself to coach? How did you?
It was a lot of so like initially I was watching a lot of videos of like Last Shadow and stuff doing all of his coaching stuff, and then as part of like my stream thing I was spectating a lot of people playing games because I used to have a really bad PC to where I couldn't actually play and stream, but it's less intensive on your computer to watch and stream. So like I would always spectate like a bunch of my silver friends and stuff, and then I would like mention to them how they can improve, or just like say, hey, you made a mistake here and this kind of thing. And then it just like slowly kind of caught on from there, and I just had more fun coaching then than I did actually playing the game. And then once you find something you really like, you just want to keep doing it over and over again. So I just continued to coach, and when solo queue coaching got boring, I switched to competitive. In particular, Oceania, OCE. I did a lot of coaching VODs for that on stream, VOD review, draft analysis, all kinds of stuff. And then that's when I really knew that I wanted to do competitive, was after that, because I was having a lot of fun, and it was one of those things I was proving to myself and to other people that I was smarter than them in League. So it was one of those things where like I really wanted to get into competitive to see like just how far I could go, because obviously I couldn't play professionally. So
Yeah, no problem. And so why did you approach a UK org instead of an American org or an NA org?
So there isn't really opportunities like there is like the Forge Champions. I tell people this that ask, it's the way that EU set up is that they have all these regional leagues, the French league, Spanish league, Benelux league, Portuguese, German, like literally is a league for like every region and country. And Nordic, I mean, you can just Greek league, which we talked about, and those options aren't like available in North America. Riot has started to do like city leagues, so like individual city teams and leagues, kind of like how Overwatch League was doing stuff, but it's not nearly as big as say like LVP Spanish League or like any of the other leagues. And obviously with more teams, there's more opportunities. I mean, granted, you're not going to get paid much, but it's one of those things like in the real world, everyone wants you to have job experience, but you can't get job experience if you don't like work for somebody. And if everyone wants job experience, you're never going to get job experience because you don't have job experience to get the job experience kind of things.
Yeah.
So I knew that this was probably one of the only opportunities that I'd be able to get. and it working for a UK org. Not that you guys were the problem; it was just the time difference. As far as like you guys are 5 hours ahead of me, so like scrims being at like 7 your time is 2 p.m. my time, which is like me during work. So I was doing like a lot of the scrim stuff through Discord mobile because I'm a legend, and yeah, no, it was tough. So sleep schedules got messed up.
Well,
During
with that,
work.
Yeah.
yeah. With that being said, obviously, working with the UK org has its benefits and its drawbacks. What would you say the worst drawback and the best benefit is?
There were benefits. Shit.
I don't know. I'm just that's for you to decide. You can just say there wasn't any.
Yikes. Okay, so benefit wise, working for smaller orgs in general, I had a lot of freedom. Like I one of the things I noticed as head coach is that you guys didn't bug me with literally anything during the entire like prep for the open stage. I see a chat meme going on, but I can't read that right now.
It's coming later. The question is coming later. Tim,
okay.
It's a
just
question
leave
that's
it
already being asked. Really, it's
Okay.
about low LCS like regional leagues and stuff, which is pretty much what we went to do about like Spanish
But-
leagues and stuff.
chill. We'll do a Q&A for the
Okay.
chat.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
So I totally forgot where I was. What was the the benefits and drawbacks. So like the
well,
benefits,
team.
yeah. So benefits like for working for smaller regions or smaller orgs and stuff, it's a lot less pressure from ownership, and that might have just been because I wasn't contract paid kind of things. That it was one of those things like I could do what I want, and like if I succeed, like sweet. If I fail, like oh well, we just kind of lost a split. That's not the biggest deal. So like that was really nice. I didn't feel like the pressure of. I mean, I felt pressure, but it was kind of the pressure that I put on myself more than like the org's expectations. It's one of those I didn't want to fail the org. I didn't want to fail the players. I didn't want to fail any of those people. So and then obviously like drawback like time zone stuff. I was sleeping like 3 hours from like 5 p.m. to like 8 p.m. my time, and then getting up at like midnight, 1 a.m. UK time, and then watching VODs all the way through, posting the notes of the VODs from scrims and kind of stuff, and then doing scrim plan for the next day, and then going to work at 6 a.m. So I had like 6 hours of like prep for team stuff, and then I would go to work for 10 hours, and then come home and sleep for 3 hours, and then do it all again the next day. So that was definitely a drawback, but again, that was more pressures and expectations of myself, like self-inflicted. I mean, you guys didn't ask me to do that. The team didn't ask me to do that. It's just one of those things that I did because I wanted to do, because I thought that's what I had to do to succeed, kind of things. So I guess I hope that answers the question the best I could. So
Yeah, so now you've obviously coached for a split in a tournament fashion.
Mhm.
What was anything different than what you were expecting going into it? So when you first were like, when he contacted you, like, yeah, do you want to come trial and coach with? What has anything been massively different, or anything different at all?
It was definitely a lot more laid back than I thought. While we were an org structure and we had like different roles for different people, and these people did certain things. It was a lot more laid back than I had initially thought it would be. I thought it'd be like a little bit stricter schedule. I thought we would have like scrimmed more, and I thought we would have done all these other things. Scheduled VOD review, which we didn't end up doing until I was head coach. And like I said, we only did one VOD review in the first 3 tournaments, but after that we did 13 or 14. So it wasn't like to the professional level that I expected, but that's not on the org. That's more of like on the players and the commitment that the players are able to make, the commitments that staffs are able to make, and it was just everyone's working around each other's availability. Because I mean, obviously, everyone was working. Artorias was working. Chicklin had school and wife stuff. And
He's married?
He's married. In case you guys didn't know, Chicklin is in fact married. I had to bring that in there somewhere. And so there's just everyone's schedules that we had to work around. We weren't living at gaming houses. We couldn't scrim for 16 hours a day, kind of things. So it was just, again, working with what we had. It was definitely different. I thought there was going to be a bigger commitment from everybody, but yeah, I think that's probably like the one thing that I had noticed that was different in particular.
Yeah. And what would you say your strengths have been this split as a coach?
This is like a legitimate
Ooh,
job
yeah,
interview. Like,
yeah,
holy!
you-
I thought we were gonna get
Well,
some like
maybe-
meme questions or like,
They'll be
yeah.
coming later.
Okay.
That's my job.
Okay, sweet. So like strengths as a coach, like individually, I was always focused mainly on jungle pathing and draft prep and like draft analysis and stuff. Because I never really thought of myself as like a player coach. Because I do not play at a very high level myself. I always trusted the players as far as matchups are concerned, as far as like playing the lane. Like I'll go over to them and like point out a mistake, like, okay, how could you have played this better? And they're like, no, it was a mistake because of this. And then obviously I would just agree with them because of the fact that they played this matchup, 30, 40 times. They've played all this stuff that I don't have, the knowledge of. But as far as like draft is concerned, that's something that I could point to, like, hey, look, this matchup wins because of this. And this is picked into this because of this. This is priority because this is what's being picked other places. So it was one of those, I could take the information that was available outside everywhere else and put it into our team and use it for our team, which was by far probably one of my biggest strengths. Like I said, I had done draft prep for all of the open teams and were basically able to predict every single pick in Phelan, Super Duper Truck team. The random teams were a little bit harder because they were solo queue players and we don't know exactly what they play solo queue wise or like matchup wise, but the actual structured teams I was able to predict. Even Barrage I was able to predict up until the Talia pick, which we did not know was going to come out, and that sucked. So
equally as important, because you wanted the serious interview.
Mhm.
What would you say your weaknesses as a coach have been this split?
100% weaknesses. I can honestly say like leadership. I leaned a lot on Artorias for that. As far as leading the team is concerned, and he was already. It is one of those things where it might have been different if I was there from the start, but because I had been brought in so late as the head coach, that I didn't have as much like reputation or pull as something like Artorias had. But Artorias still listened to me, but like the team was still kind of like, well, Artorias says we're doing it this way, so this is, and I agreed with Artorias for most of the stuff, but I mean not all of it. Where then I just worked with him, and then he would just get the team to come around. And then obviously the individual mechanical mistakes. I can honestly say that I do not know as much as I probably should. But that's again just me not being able to play on the level. It's not me watching enough players' individual solo queue games. It's not. It's just me literally not having enough time to do all of that on my own. So
Yeah. So what would you, as a coach personally, have done different this split?
So like I already talked about it in the Barrage game, for sure talk more in between games, because I was just as surprised of what happened and how convincing it was. The other thing was trying to think of how to word this. Like the leadership aspect of it as well, and not speaking enough during the first two forges for sure. When I was just the assistant, and even like going into the third forge, Delo didn't really ask for my opinion or really respect my opinion, and that was kind of his own thing. Delo being Delo, I'm not really gonna say anything too flamey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, differently. I wish we could have scrimmed more. I wish I could have taken more time off to properly watch scrims, and I wish I could have talked more. I wish I had an answer for the Talia. There's a bunch of things I can go say that I wish I did differently over the Forge, but that's just sports and competition in general. Hindsight's 2020. So
Yeah.
I wish we had prepped something for Talia instead of having Trundle and Sedge every game. So
So a lot of people are superstitious. One, are you superstitious? And two, do you have any pre-game rituals
okay,
or
these are the questions that I knew were
post-game,
coming. Okay,
or-
so superstitious, no.
Mhm.
Like pregame rituals, yes. Even like when I was
So you're
playing.
superstitious then?
No. Pregame rituals are different. Pregame rituals, like they get you in the zone. They're getting you ready for competition. This is something that I had, like in traditional sports, and it's always just music based for me. So I had 3 songs that I played every single Forge tournament before any like really big games. And the 3 songs.
Legends Never Die.
No, it wasn't that. These are like really weird. Mean It by G-Eazy. It's one of the songs that I play every day on my stream. The other one is Fetty Wap Trap Queen, which again, another one of those really weird things. And then the last one was People Back Home by Florida Georgia Line, which is like one of those things where like you're kind of representing all the people you know. So those are like the 3 songs that I always listen to, like every Forge, every major game, even though for qualifier stuff when they were really important, I just take 12 minutes and just like listen to those really fast. So and that's not really superstition. That's just me making sure that I'm in the right mindset for the games.
Is that like a meditating type thing? Do you just kind of like have eyes closed and just listen, or you just
not really like eyes closed, but it's more of like
hype yourself up?
I wear hoodies all the time, so like I've got like the music blaring, hoodie up, and be going kind of things, So getting hyped for the games. I mean, it's just like similar thing for like when I was in traditional sports playing football, and so it's a similar thing. So I'm waiting for the chat. I'm not looking at the chat right now. I can't deal with you right now, chat. I'll be there in a second.
No.
Daddy's coming home.
It's all right.
Okay.
Killer's just singing Country Roads, which I've had to stop myself from doing. And Shitlin's just saying he walks around the house after every game.
After going to the toilet.
Yeah. And do you have any heroes as well? Like, it doesn't have to be esports heroes. It can be, because I know if it was esports heroes, I know me and Sam would be in there. But just
of course,
heroes, just in general, or people you look up to, people you aspire to.
So I know for Khan's questions, it was coaching heroes and stuff. Did you want to just try to focus it a little bit? Because these are the questions I knew Khan had, so I was prepared for these 2. The rest of the questions were kind of just dropped on me. But like as far as like coaching heroes and stuff, this is gonna be super sappy, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say my dad, because my dad coached a lot of my football games, and like football, like British football, not American football kind. So he was one of those people that like always taught me like no matter what, the most important thing is just to have fun. And like if you're not having fun, why the fuck are you even doing it, kind of things. And like he taught us like just how to play the game, but then also like make sure that you're having fun while doing it, kind of things. So obviously I try to take that with me everywhere. Like no matter how stressful it is, I try to find some sort of fun in all of the games. And then like individual like league esports stuff, obviously like just Coma, because of just the success that he's had. And I mean, you always have to idolize success. Because if you
have the Coach Coma award,
damn,
fake fan.
You're gonna do me like that,
right? So that's the end of my questions.
Okay. All the serious questions are gone.